When it comes to microgreens, I think everybody's attracted to them for the value that they bring per tray. You can have a 10 by 20 inch size tray sell for 20 or more dollars. It's attractive on a numbers basis. But there's a lot that goes into that. And what I've found from talking to a lot of farmers, visiting a lot of farms, the worst part about farming often is the harvesting. So today we're going to see what it's like to harvest 40 or so microgreen trays to get them ready to go to customers tomorrow. It's the non-glorious part of growing microgreens.
So we would cut this by hand, pretty much like this here. And we just come through and, so if you're doing it as a live tray, or, say at a farmer's market and you're doing this live, or I would say if you have less than 50 trays, then it's not really a big issue. It could kind of work for you. And it gives you a chance to really kind of see the product up close. Of course, the big thing is making sure you don't get soil in there and keeping it consistent. So this is how we would do this last year. And it would take, imagine, so we have, for this one order, there's 4 of these clamshells. So this would take a little bit of time. Pack it all in there and so forth. But, well, this guy's about 500 bucks. But this is 3 trays here. Yeah. There you go. That was a perfect cut. So,
Overall, how have you found it hand cutting versus using the quick cut greens harvester?
yeah, so to cut this whole tray would probably take just as much time to cut this whole thing. So this is going to be for farmer's market. If someone's doing, man, just a couple of clamshells for a restaurant or something like that, then it's might be practical to go this way. This is 500 bucks, so kind of have to weigh it out. But when you're looking at labor, especially when it's pretty good sized operation, this would be the way to go. The other thing, this is also versatile because it's actually designed to be used in the field. So if you're doing lettuce and so forth, you can use it outside as well too. It's for the crops. So that, get a multiple use out of it. Think of it as like an extra employee. As bad as that sounds, right? If somebody wants to get hired.
That's made your job a lot easier.
It's made my job a lot easier. Well, the thing is we can do more. So we can actually have more clients, and yeah, it just helps.
It's a required piece of equipment probably at this point.
I would say so, because we worked without it for almost a year, and there's only so much production you can do by hand, and it's only so much consistency you can get. So you can see here where I've kind of missed some things, but so this is all revenue stuff. So for example, the way these are cut here, they're going to cut a lot lower and more consistency without pulling up the soil. So every time I cut by hand, I'm looking to see if I pulled up any soil in it by, just missing something here. These guys, you just run it too slow, it cuts everything, keeps it consistent. And the other thing too, it gets you more product too. So you're looking at more like that. The only thing I would say, if you do have a little disease pressure, say this had a little funkiness in the middle and you wanted to cut around it, then you have to go by hand. So then you have to cut around it or something like that. But other than that, I would say that would be the way to go. 500 bucks, you can get somebody who had one, doesn't need it anymore. But yeah, that's what we do. And then we put these guys in clamshells here. These are 24-ounce clamshells. For us, we pack them in with 2 absorbent tray pads. But it depends on the supplier. Sometimes these are going to go primarily to chefs and kitchens, and so they're not going to pay too much attention to it. They just want it to look decent and keep. Yeah. But if it's going to go into a facility where somebody's going to be looking at the top, or if it's like in a fridge case at a supermarket, then the supplier might ask that you do it without the top on it, which works too. But the only thing is, it's going to breathe a little bit, and you're going to get a little more condensation on the top. So, but it depends. I mean, if they're kept cold, we just put these in right away. These will be at the restaurants in a couple hours. So it's going to go from fridge to fridge. and it'll keep full well.
Some great points brought up there, just comparing the two. How are you selling them and where are they ending up? What does your customer care about? If they need to see the product or they want to see the product, or if it's important for you as the farmer that they do see the product, no absorbent pad on top, but you do put one in on bottom. If it's going to a chef who doesn't care what the product looks like, they just want it to last because they already know what's in here, put an absorbent pad on the top and bottom. The key here is having that absorbent pad in there. It just removes any excess moisture from the crop, which means shelf life in the fridge is going to be longer. One thing that they do here at the Sonoma farm is make sure all the crops that they're harvesting are very dry. That means that they've opened up all their covers that protect the crops from rodents to get some airflow through there. They're not top watering anything or having any sort of misting going on during harvest day. It's to try and get as dry of a crop as you can from here into here, and then you have the absorbent pads in there to take up any moisture that the actual sprouts or microgreens output while they're in the container itself.
So on something like this, I only have one of these red kale, so it's not really worth breaking out the whole harvesting for it. So I'll cut stuff like that by hand. But if it's something that we have like 20 or 30 of,
You have a container. How do you know how much to put in?
sure. So I'm a generous guy. To me, it's kind of like you go to the drive-through and you're getting French fries. They don't fill up your bag. So I'm kind of like the guys that fill it in. But with micros, it doesn't really work out so well that way because they don't have room to kind of let the air circulate. So it's better. So we use a high dome lid here, but they do have lids that are flat. The high dome gives it a little bit more space to kind of just breathe. In this case, the wholesaler is okay with us putting another pad on top. So you want to make sure that you can kind of shape it around. But this also depends on if you're going by volume or weight. So we do have a scale over there. We put net volume 4 ounces. It's going to be around 4 ounces here. But you want to make sure they have a little bit of room to wiggle around. But you can see here that it's perfectly dry. There's no water. Just to kind of give you an idea here.
In general, are you just going off the feel? Because I've seen some growers put their container on a scale and harvest into the container on a scale. So if you're going for 4 ounces, are you just trying to get close every time?
We can do both here. So like for example, on this one right here, we harvest on the scale. These, no, because once you get them full, they're going a little bit over the amount.
One of the little tricks you can do on the farm, if you have crops that are growing fast, ahead of schedule, like say you don't need to deliver a crop until Friday, but it's optimum and ready for harvest on Wednesday, what do? Do you harvest it on Wednesday and store it harvested in the fridge, or do you leave it in the greenhouse or wherever you're growing and harvest it on Friday when it's gone past optimum? Neither. You can do this if you have a walk-in and you have room in your refrigerator to do it. You take the whole tray live, growing, pop it in here, and what that's going to do is slow down the growth of the crop so it can just sit in here basically dormant in stasis, and then you can pull it out and harvest it when you're ready. Harvest it at optimum conditions when you're ready. So if something's growing fast, something's growing ahead of schedule, put it in the freezer, put it in the cold, slow it down, and preserve that readiness until you're ready for it. One thing they do here at Sonoma Farm is they sell what they call rainbow mix. It's got kale, a mustard mix, and amaranth in it. It's essentially a salad in microgreen form. The nice thing about having mixes like that is you have some optionality with your crops. You can sell any of those crops individually, standalone. You could sell just kale micros, mustard mix micros, and amaranth micros. But if you can't move enough of them, or you need to get rid of extra trays, you blend them up into a mix and then you sell the mix on its own. Overall, it works great for them, and it's actually their best seller here on the farm.